right, going through quiz number 9. On the first problem, we want to see if this point is a solution to the system. So all you need to do is plug it in, and if it works in both equations, then it's a solution. That means that point is where these two lines would intersect. All right, so I'm going to plug in, wait, fix my pen. 2 times 1 plus 3 times -1 equals -1. 2 plus -3 equals -1. And -1 equals -1. All right, so it works in the first equation. Second equation equals 4. I get 1. Now minus is going to make plus 3, 4. So there we go, 4 equals 4. So it works in both equations. So the answer is yes, right? That point is a solution. Number 2, we want to solve by substitution. And one thing I would noticed going over the practice quiz is that some of you are you're either not solving for one of the variables, or you're trying to take a hard term and solve. For example, you might be trying to solve for the x right here in the 7x, which would be a lot harder than trying to solve for this x, which is already by itself. It has no number in the front. Pick the easiest of these 4 terms. Pick the easiest one to solve for. That would be this one in the second equation. All I need to do is toss the 2y, the -2y, to the other side. So my system is really 7x plus 2y equals 13. And then I have x equals 2y plus 11. Now I can take 2y plus 11, which is x, and plug it into the x spot. And I'm going to get 7 times 2y plus 11 plus 2y equals 13. 14y plus 77 plus 2y equals 13. So I'm going to get 16y plus 77 is 13. Toss the 77 to the other side, becomes minus 77. 77 minus 13, 4, 60. So this is -64 and 16y. Divide both sides by 16. And y is going to equal -4. Now, once you get one of your variables solved for, plug it back into the easier equation and find the other one. Now, I could plug it into this y and then solve for this x, but that will be a lot harder than plugging it into this y, and that's going to give me x right away. So I'm going to put that here. X equals 2 times -4 plus 11, which equals -8 plus 11. So that's going to be 3. And the point, therefore, is 3, -4. Okay, so number 3, also solving by substitution. Now in this one, the second equation is already solved for y. Don't rearrange anything. There's no need to. That is y. That can get plugged into the y spot. So -3x plus 3 times x plus 3 equals 4. -3x plus 3x plus 9 equals 4. Well, my x terms cancel, and I get 9 equals 4, which of course is nonsense. So if you get a nonsense result like this, then it's no solution, meaning those two lines would be parallel. They're not going to intersect at all. All right, number 4, graphing these two lines. I'm going to start with this one because it's already in slope-intercept form. If it's in this form, you can graph it easily. The 4, which is the b, is the y-intercept. That's the first point you should put. Now here's my y-axis. Here's my x-axis. Some of you really need a refresher on graphing the lines. 4 is where my line crosses the y. Now my slope, it's 1/2. Rise, run. So from my intercept, I'm going to go up 1, and I have to run in the direction that's going to make my line positive or uphill because it's a positive slope. Run to the right. Down 1, run to the left, and again, I can't find my ruler. Here we go. All right, so make sure you draw your line straight. Otherwise, who knows where they're going to intersect. Okay, now the other one, I have to rearrange. So this guy, I need to solve for y. Looking at the y term, it's positive, so that means don't move it. Instead, I'm going to move the 3x over. So I get 2y equals negative 3x minus 8. Now to get y alone, I have to divide all terms by 2. And y equals negative 3/2 x minus 4. This time my y-intercept is at negative 4. Plot that first. My slope, it's negative 3/2. So the rise is 3. I'm going to go up 3. But because my slope is negative, my line has to be going downhill. So I'm going to run 2, but to the left. Then I'm going to go back to my intercept. Down 3, right 2. And I know that I'm going to get a single solution. Okay, there we go. So these two lines are going to intersect right here. 1, 2, 3 at negative 4, 2. And for any system of equations, if you're not sure if you graphed it right or you have the right answer, plug in your point to both equations and see if it works. Okay, number 5 is another graph. Doing the left one first because it's already in slope-intercept form. The negative 2, here's my y, here's my x. Negative 2 on the y is my intercept. Slope 2/3. So my rise is 2, my run is 3. Rise 2, run 3. Make sure it's going uphill. Down 2, run the other way. Make sure you line it up. Oops, I just got a weird error message on my phone, so I'm not sure what, if anything, happened to the video. All right, now this one I need to rearrange. So another thing I could do is divide all these terms by 2. They're all divisible by 2, but I'm gonna skip that because I'm not sure if you would have thought of that. So looking at the y term, it's positive, don't touch it. Throw the x to the other side. 6y equals positive 4x. Make sure you change signs when you cross the equal sign. Divide everything by 6. Y equals, simplify, 2/3 x minus 2, which is the same as the first equation. So therefore, both lines are the same line, and my answer is infinite solutions. Those lines intersect at infinite points. Okay, and then the extra credit, solving by elimination. Looking at what I have, I see that the y terms are identical. So it looks like it's going to be easiest to cancel out the y's. I can't just add these two equations, though. It's not set up. They're not going to add to 0. So I'm going to multiply one of these equations by -1. I'll just do the bottom one. That way it'll make it a negative y, which will add to the y and make it go to 0. So my system is now 8x plus y equals negative 16. Negative 1 is going to change all the signs. So positive 3x minus y equals positive 5. Adding, y terms cancel. I get 11x equals negative 11. Divide by 11, x equals negative 1. All right, now plug that into one of these other equations. Find y. So negative 1 plus y is negative 16. Negative 8 plus y equals negative 16. So toss the negative 8 over and I get y equals 8 positive minus 16. Right, that negative, this makes the 16 negative, so he's still negative. And that's going to give me a negative 8. So my answer is negative 1, negative 8.